Match 89, Zone Fighter vs. Godzilla and Monster X by Christian Zatkoff. Zone Fighter jumped out of the way just in time as a huge boulder nearly collided with him. Godzilla roared, then snorted before lowering his head and charging forward like a crazed bull, ready to stamp the life out of his foe. There was no time to dodge. Zone Fighter stood his ground as the massive mutant slammed his bulk into him, sending him flying. As soon as the giant got back to his feet, he saw blue energy of death leaking out of Godzilla's mouth. Zone Fighter brought up his arms and made a cross to block the beam, just as the byproduct of nuclear testing parted the monster's maw and let loose with a powerful blast more deadly than several atomic weapons. The blast...
Wait, did he get sent flying for miles?
Maybe. The blast stabbed into his arms, but he managed to still stand, digging his feet into the ground as he was pushed back. The pain was too intense to describe, so when the blast ceased, raining trees and dust everywhere, it was relief. Zone Fighter's belt buckle had gone from light blue to yellow. He had to end this fight soon. He looked down at his hands, which were burned even darker than the blackest coal. The glass of his belt buckle timer had actually cracked and melted in some places. He charged at Godzilla before the smoke could clear, and traded blows with him. Dodging Godzilla's the best he could. He may not be as powerful as the Monster King, but he was faster. Godzilla slashed his chest, sparks flying. Godzilla then bit down on his shoulder. The alien hero cried out before he slammed his fist at the back of Godzilla's neck and head, forcing him to let go. Once free from the jaws of death, he delivered an uppercut to Godzilla's face. A loud crack could be heard for miles. That's something that could be heard for miles. As some of the nuclear Leviathan's teeth were knocked out. Godzilla's spines flashed and his mouth was just about to open when Zone Fighter wrapped his elbow around his neck, holding him in a chokehold as he held his head down and punched him several times in the head with his free hand. Godzilla slashed at him with his claws, but the giant hero refused to submit to his will. Godzilla felt like his whole body was going to blow up, but it wouldn't, for his body had mutated a failsafe just in case he could not release the atomic energy that was now trapped in his body. A bright flash freed the dinosaur from the chokehold, as a nuclear pulse struck the area, as he took in a much-needed gasp for air. Zone Fighter got up, having been thrown at least a mile away. Well, at least this one's accurate. and with horror, noticed his belt buckle was flashing red. His energy was running low, and he only had 110 seconds left. He had to finish this fight, and quick. Godzilla charged him again at full speed and collided once more with the alien. Only this time, Zone Fighter grabbed his shoulders, fell on his back, and used Godzilla's momentum to do a back roll and throw him away. Godzilla slammed into the ground like a small comet, chunks of earth sent everywhere, birds flying out of their trees to escape the danger. With speed that defied...
And the invincible deer started running away.
Yeah! With speed that defied his size, Godzilla got back to his feet, his face bleeding, and charged once again. But this time he skidded to a stop as soon he was near and spun, lifting his tail in an attempt to whack Zone Fighter with the limb. Zone braced for the impact and caught the tail, sliding on his feet in a nearly complete circle before he finally slid to a stop. With a yelp of surprised horror, Godzilla was lifted off his feet as Zone spun around in circles faster and 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 faster.
And faster and faster and faster.
Until he let go. Godzilla crashed headfirst into the ground as Zone Fighter took to the sky, ready to finish this fight. Godzilla got up, but was too disoriented to know where his foe had gone, giving Zone plenty of time to build up his speed. Godzilla finally got his equilibrium back and looked up just in time to see Zone Fighter nose diving at ungodly speeds. It was too late to react as Zone Fighter crashed into him head first and sending him falling back with a thud that echoed like thunder. Zone Fighter landed. Godzilla was struggling to get back to his feet when Zone offered a helping hand and pulled him back to a standing position, patting him on the shoulder. Godzilla nodded his head and Zone Fighter took to the sky and flew off. He had won another one of their fights. The two had been sparring partners for a long time, years in fact, practicing fighting often to better themselves. They had to stay in shape. There was no telling when another monster would threaten the world. At least, that was half the reason. Most people saw all monsters as nothing more than evil, foul creatures that would cause the apocalypse. Others say that you reap...
That seems to be worded kind of weirdly.
Yeah, I think it should be than, personally.
Yeah.
Like more than.
With an A.
Yeah.
Nothing more than evil, but whatever. Others say that you reap what you sow, and that's what the kaiju are. War, atomic weapons, genetic weapons, chemical weapons, sin, insanity, and man's destructive ways in general have been given flesh to some. The monsters living incarnations of our mistakes, sent to punish us like a plague. To some extent...
Hey, it's every member of TK.
Yeah! Yep. To some extent, they were alright. For that matter, they were completely correct. But there were some that protect the world, like Mothra, or even humans themselves, like King Caesar. Even monsters who originally started off as a menace, like Rodan, have helped save the world from the likes of things much worse than themselves, like King Ghidorah. Monsters like Godzilla still cause the death of many, many lives, but even he has saved the world as much as he has threatened it. Naturally, because of this, views of Godzilla and his fellow mutants were mixed at best. Zone couldn't blame them. He tried to picture a beast like Gigan turn into a hero, and he just couldn't do it. But in times when all seemed lost, it was the same monsters that man tried countless times to destroy that ironically saved him after years of causing so much suffering and death. Zone knew, as much as the world hated to admit it, Godzilla and his fellow mutants were the lesser of two evils and were needed to fight off far worse monsters like Destroya if the world was to live and see another day. It was the likes of Godzilla that brought this world by the fates. Were brought into this world by the fates to punish the human race. Then the likes of Destroyer were brought into this world to kill us. Brought
That seems
into.
a little redundant.
Yeah, kinda. There's a bit of redundancy going on here.
This is really long so far.
Alright. We're brought into this world to kill us all. Brought into this world, kill us all. I think there was a 2 that's missing. Indeed, it seemed Earth's monsters were trying to give a world a second chance. That was another reason he had been trading with Earth's monsters. Pass.
Joe!
5, 6,
Joe!
7, 8, 9.
Joe!
Joe?
Joe!
Joe, pass.
Joe!
Yes. Oh, I didn't hear you say pass.
I said pass.
Joe! Joe!
Godzilla seemed to enjoy these friendly matches with Zone, just as much as the others he held with Rodan, Anguirus, or Kamacuras, any other monster on the island. Zone Fighter had also practiced with the other kaiju of Monster Island, as well as Gamera, King Kong, and even, in his opinion, his greatest rival, Kamageddon. His greatest rival, Ultra Banner. Lately,
Yes.
he had been giving himself handicaps such as in his flight with Rodan, in which he would only use projectiles. Or a few days ago, he had to capture Baragon several times before he could dig underground. Today
That seems like torture.
Yeah. Today he used only his melee and flight skills against Godzilla. Just like
Right.
Wait.
Wait, didn't he
That's
use
right.
the meteor proton beam or something?
No, I don't
No?
think so,
Oh,
actually.
never
Oh,
mind.
I don't think he did.
Pretty sure he just went all physical.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, never mind. I read that wrong. It was just Godzilla shooting him in the face.
Yeah.
Physical.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just used his, he was just, that was Godzilla using his projectiles, but...
Yeah.
Hey,
Mm-hmm.
Godzilla, let's get physical. Ooh.
Just like his sparring partners, he felt himself getting stronger and faster. His aim improved, as well as his agility in flight. His fighting skills improved greatly, even inventing new fighting techniques and making far fewer mistakes. Sometimes he would win a match in mere seconds while his belt buckle was still blue. He felt great, like he could take on the whole world and come back for seconds. Well, I guess that explains why he
Man, he
went bad
really
in
does.
Ultraman versus Zone Fighter.
No, I mean, I guess this is why he's wanted by Prime Minister Shin.
Yeah. He would need all this experience for his next encounter. For the next fight would not be practice.
Winner
It would be
Zone Fighter.
It would be 5 stars.
5 stars!
Joe! Joe!
Hikari
Joe!
Sakamori was Hikari Sakamori was walking by calmly
misspelling of
down
his
the
name?
rainy streets of Moscow. What?
Wait, isn't the I supposed to be a U at the end?
It's a little iffy. Like, I think, like, early on it was Hikari Sakamori, but I believe Greyshot started calling him Hikaru, which I think is his proper name, so...
Fucking gray shot.
We need Bird Zone to confirm this.
Well, we don't need Gray Shot. We have Kaiju X.
Yes. and I am all you need. Anyway, just keep reading as it is.
While its panicked citizens ran past him, trying to flee the evil that had already leveled most of the city. He had originally planned on meeting Shin Hayata, secretly Ultramaner, 2 days ago on one of Japan's many
GTK.
islands.
I mean, GBZ. Are you saying that GTK is inside Banner?
Yeah. Yes, I am. 2 days ago, on one of Japan's many islands for a friendly match. After losing the last fight, he was looking forward to a rematch. And then came match 49.
I think that's implied in this universe. Like, match 49 happened, but not in the way it originally happened, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Kind of retconning it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't you know? Peacelanders can regenerate their head.
Being that they had so much in common, both being alien protectors, having disguised themselves among the natives of Earth and fought off countless invading monsters, it only made sense that they would become close friends once they knew who each other really were. However, those plans were now cancelled.
It only
This
lasted
was all-
3 episodes.
Monsters started popping up all over the world and seemed to have declared war on mankind. Kiryu was fighting Gigan in London. Ultraman had engaged King Ghidorah in Washington, D.C.
Aww.
Well, I'm happy for Ultraman and his new wife, Queen Ghidorah. Rodan was dealing with an army of Gauss in Paris. And
Was he joining the crowd again?
There's your Rodan versus Ghost match, everybody.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. Wait, was he just trying to rejoin the crowd again, like in match 56?
Yes.
Yes. Gamera was battling Iris again in Hong Kong, and Mechagodzilla was sent to stop Descador near San Francisco. I
Wait,
think you
where's
mean Planet
Mogera?
X.
Yes.
Everyone was already in a fight, leaving no one to smite the evil in Moscow but him. For some
Except
reason,
Mogera.
well, Mogera doesn't matter.
Wait, he's still with Godzilla underwater. Never mind.
Leaving no one to smite the evil in Moscow but him. For some reason, Japan wasn't attacked yet. It might have been a trap to lure him, the last defense of Japan, away. But he couldn't just sit around and do nothing while people needed him. The beast was spotted heading towards the city days ago, so he had hoped to get there before it did. But it seemed he had got there too late. He would end this beast before it could destroy another city. He stopped and looked up at the beast, who stared back at him. Its body a mixture of bones on both the inside and out. Monster X saw the man who dared stand before him and reached for him, ready to crush him into dust. One, two.
How much have you read?
I think he has 3 more.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
believe
3
so.
more.
Yeah, 3 more.
All right. All right. Zone double. Zone double fight. Monster X reeled back in shock. Where had the human gone? Where had the human gone? And where did this giant come from? It reminded him much of the two who beat him back in Tokyo. The silver and red ones who could change their size. But he knew this wasn't one of them. This one was blue.
I'm glad he knows his
None-
colors.
Yes.
Nonetheless, he will find Ultraman and Jet Jaguar and have his revenge on them. Until then, he will kill this foolish being that... Until then, he will kill this foolish being that dared get in his way of leveling the city. So, Monster X also got the come back to life thing that
Yes. That Zone Fighter
Zone
got.
Fighter has.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The magical ability of retconning certain matches and integrating them. Interesting. So we have 49 and 45 in here so far. Or 20.
Yes, like
25
reattaching
and
their own
49.
heads.
25 and 49.
Well, I can't wait for match 100 then. Zone Fighter jumped up and delivered a kick to the Space Demon's face. Monster X staggered back as Zone Fighter then delivered several punches and a blinding speed to his stomach. Monster X slashed at him with his claws, but Zone Fighter jumped back before the space monster could hit him. He responded in kind by striking a pose and aiming one of his arms at Monster X's face. Suddenly, several arrow-shaped energy projectiles flew out of his hand and stabbed into the beast's face before exploding. Zone was disturbed to see that the beam had so little effect. Not only had it failed to cut through the creature's bony armor, but had Monster X not seen the beam with his own eyes, he wouldn't have even known he had been shot. Zone charged forward, but on his way down, Monster X grabbed him by the shoulders and swung his body so that both feet shot forward and slammed the giant hero in the stomach. The blow was so intense it sent the hero crashing face first into the ground before he could regain his balance.
Pass.
Pass.
Okay. Zone got up for Monster X by his legs and pulled and pulled and pulled.
And
He started to
pulled.
spin faster and faster and faster and faster.
And faster,
Or
and
less.
faster,
And
and faster,
faster.
and faster, and faster, and faster, and faster, and faster,
Letting go.
and faster.
When he said spin faster, does he mean?
Who knows? Monster X was sent flying headfirst into some skyscrapers that apparently weren't destroyed, and was buried under tons of concrete and steel. Zone watched as Monster X exploded out of the rubble and
Faster,
fired several fast gravity bolts from his fast eyes.
faster,
The fast blue, fast comet, fast hero screamed in pain as he was fastly barraged by the golden beams,
faster,
each time sliding back faster as he was hit. The fast blue giant struck several quick poses, summoning the
faster,
power needed for his next fast attack.
faster,
Meteor proton beam!
faster,
Fast body glowed
Fapping.
brightly before a thin, fast blue beam fired from the gem on the tip of the crest sticking out of his head. Monster X fastly screamed out as the beam hit him, vanishing in a mushroom cloud of fire as he slid back, screaming fast. So it can be hurt, Zone realized. He just needed to weaken it in hand-to-hand combat before finishing it off. But the monster was too far away. He needed to force it to fight up close. To fight him up close. Zone's hands glowed as he moved them and formed a square in the air in front of him. With the flames no longer blocking his vision, Monster X spotted his foe. Chunks of bone armor were missing, and blood was leaking out of his mouth. He fired gravity bolts from his demonic red eyes, stopped, and vanished mere meters away from hitting Zone directly in the face. What was going on? Monster X blinked, then noticed there was a square-shaped object made of colored light in front of Zone that he didn't see before because he's stupid. Monster X fastly bared his teeth once he knew that his beams were being blocked by the Zone barrier. Monster X rushed him. Zone Fighter fired another barrage of arrow-shaped energy blasts as soon as his shield vanished. Monster X jumped over the beams, both feet landing on Zone's head before he kicked off, using it as a springboard to jump into the ocean, making a backwards backflip dive into the sea. The blue
10.
meteor. What would you guys give him? I give him a 2.
I give him 10.
I go with a 10.
Give him a 0.
The blue meteor hero turned around and quickly lashed out with his fist, but met only empty air. Yeah, see, he jumped into the ocean. He can't hit the guy who just disappeared into the ocean. Zone looked everywhere, but couldn't spot the skeleton kaiju as he was in the ocean. Where was he in the ocean? It was almost as if he never landed at all, because he's still in the ocean. But that made no sense. But he didn't recall hearing him land. But even still, he should have felt the ground shake. A low, grumbling growl that sounded like mocking laughter reached his ear. Great shot looked to see Monster X in the sky with a sound as if he was on the moon. Monster X fired a barrage of gravity bolts from his eyes as he used his levitation powers. Zone's cries filled the city with unholy dread as fell to his knees. It's missing a he right there. His belt buckle timer turned from a light blue to yellow. Monster X turned off whatever power source in his body allowed him to float slowly down and fell like a rock, smashing into the ground falling into the Earth's crust and dying instantly. Kicking out with his feet, rolled out of the way as the space beast flew past him, grabbing his tail and pulling. Monster X staggered back and turned around, only to have Zone elbow him in the face, sending him face first into the ground. What is with the use of just Zone? Was he just too lazy to put down Fighter? Fighter pulled the forked tail with all his might and slammed Monster X into the ground, over and over and over and over and over again, using Godzilla's
and
tactics.
over and over and over and over and over and over and faster and faster and faster and faster.
Faster. Monster X lashed out with a kick from one of his legs, landing the blow right in Fighter's stomach, forcing him to let go and grab his gut in pain. Monster X ran to Fighter as soon as he was standing, and lifted him up by the shoulder and midsection, holding him high in the air before getting on one knee and slamming his own Fighter's back on his sharp, bony knee.
Ooh.
I guess he wanted to break the man.
Dark Knight looks good.
I
Yeah.
wonder what will
I
break
think the Dark Knight Rises
his
looks good.
spirit or his back.
Yeah.
How many paragraphs was it? How many indentations have I read?
You got like 1, 2,
1,
3.
2, 3, 4,
You got 5 more. You're
I'm at
halfway.
halfway. Okay. Fighter screamed out in horrid pain as his spine broke, like Batman fighting Bane. The Bane demon let the blue bat fall off his knees and slam into the earth with a dull thud. Fighter struggled to get up. Every time he moved, he felt a burning, stabbing pain that felt like it would last forever. He was just like Batman. Monster X was ready to deliver the finishing blow when several rockets and lasers struck the beast. Oh, it's just the tortoise, okay. Monster X looked up to see several F-15J jets fire their Sidewinder missiles and Asshole MB-93s fire their masers as they did a flyby. He fired a quick burst of his gravity bolts, coming close but missing as the anti-aircraft made a swift turn, the beams melting the paint off several of the aircrafts, and the pilots feeling the cockpits heat up. Several more rockets and masers hit him. Again and again and again. Sir X looked down to see... Yes, and faster. Monster X looked down to see several tanks and maser tanks. He fired his beams. They were not as lucky as the jets and Astals, as several were destroyed because they are slow. Fighter looked up and saw one was cornered on a street that was a dead end.
No, one was corned.
One was corned on a street that was a dead end. Was busy eating all that corn. He didn't see anything coming.
It was the hippie from Godzilla vs. Gigan.
That one was about to be crushed when he got hostage with a wrapped up piece of corn. And suddenly, the pain didn't matter anymore, as he ran forward, pushing the foul beast away with one hand and grabbed the corn with the other, putting it up to his face as he ate it, while the tank was putting the tank gently on the road where it drove away. Finally says Zone Fighter. Zone Fighter turned around, and the two giants stared each other down, neither one willing to back down. They charged each other, Zone's timer acting as a signal for the two to fight to the death, even though they already were fighting to the death. The two traded punches and kicks, blocking each other's attacks as best as they could, even though one of them has a broken back right now and shouldn't even be fighting. It felt like they had been at it, when in reality, it had only been half a minute. Because Zone Fighter can go at it the whole day if he wants to. Zone Fighter had to recharge before he ran out of energy. And fast.
Yeah,
and
Zone
fast,
Fighter could recharge
and
whenever the
faster.
author demands it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, what? 4, 5,
You have 3
7.
more.
Yeah, 3 more.
3 more? Okay. Monster X grabbed Fighter by the head and ran in circles before throwing him forward, crashing into a building that just so happened to still be alive. That poor building. And those poor skyscrapers. They're just like their cousins, the huts, houses, and their neighbors, the cars. They're getting destroyed. He got back to his feet and ran at Monster X. The beast raised his hands as if ready for anything. He wasn't for this, because he's never ready. The Zone Fighter jumped up and elbowed the monster in the jaw at an angle, putting all his weight into the blow, tearing off Monster X's lower jaw. He howled in pain. The fighter wasn't done. He grabbed Monster X by his arms and pulled him forward, while slamming one of his legs into the creature's knee. The action caused his leg to be broken, bent in the opposite direction. There's broken legs, a broken spine. What's gonna be next?
A ripped off
and a broken
jaw.
jaw.
A
Yes.
broken dick.
Damn it, you stole my line.
Monster X lashed out with his right arm, but Zone Fighter grabbed it with one hand and punched the elbow with the other, bending it in the other direction. Oh look, a broken arm. Before jumping back and firing several more arrow-shaped beams, killing some guy named Tyler Trishock.
Good.
His armor was much weaker now from the meteor proton beam earlier. The beams now stabbed into Monster X, causing blood to fly everywhere with each shot. Monster X tried to snap his arm back into place, but the moment he did, one of those stabbing rays hit him on the unarmored part of his arm and cut it clean in two at the elbow. Man, he's cutting arms off now.
Yeah.
That is 2 left now, right?
Yeah, 2 left.
Okay.
Mhm.
The lower arm shook the earth as it hit the ground with a loud thud that could be heard for miles. Stronger, apparently stronger than
Gorosaurus heard it.
Godzilla's hits. Yes, even Gorosaurus heard it as he recorded this whole thing on camera. While Titanosaurus played the background music.
Yeah.
The Zone Fighter ran forward and spun the beast around, grabbing him by the forked tail before flying upwards, higher into the clouds. Annoyed Gorosaurus says he couldn't get that high with the camera. There have been dropping heavy rain on the city all night. Lightning flashed in the sky, hitting both of them, before they slid back into the earth. Fighter forced him into the ground after flying at his max speed, crushing Monster X between the planet and his 55,000-ton mass. Is he heavier now, or?
I
Is
don't
it
think
still
so.
the
I
same?
think I kept them the same.
Okay.
So this is actually still accurate. Yay!
Congratulations.
Oh,
Oh, hold up. Guess what? Another limb's going to be gone now. Because Zone Fighter ripped his tail off before jumping some distance away, riding the shape of a shield with his glowing hands. Man, Zone Fighter really likes tearing off limbs, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
He's getting revenge for his back, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turned around and fired his gravity beams. They crashed into the glowing energy barrier known as the Hyper Barrier. Just like the Zone Barrier he had used before, they blocked energy attacks. But unlike the Zone Barrier, the Hyper Barrier also sends them back with Hyper Potions. Monster X learned this the hard way, as a split second after the gravity bolts hit the shield-shaped energy, fired back at him. Zone Fighter struck some quick possesses as he summoned the energy to his second strongest attack, while healing himself with a Hyper Potion. Or missile might pass, because I'm tired.
alright. Bracelets filled with giant, super-powered missiles appeared on his wrist in a bright flash. Unlike most missiles
my
made
torch
on Earth, these ripped into Kaiju like giant bullets. He fired a barrage of missiles which tore into Monster X's anus. His face screamed out as explosion after explosion rocked his body. Blood and sinews spraying out of him. The heat was so intense that some of his wounds could not bleed, for they were instantly cauterized. Zone Fire made sure every shot counted, and once he used up all of his ammo, fired his strongest attack once again. The last time it had hurt the space monster badly, but didn't kill him. This time it was so weak from the fight that it wailed. He struck several short poses again, summoning energy for one more time. Meteor proton beam, fucking kill me. Blah, 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 blah. Once again, a thin dark blue.
Wait, really quick. Is Zone Fighter trying to possess someone to do his
Yeah.
attack?
Maybe. Once again, a thin dark blue beam fired from his crest and slammed into Monster X, who vanished in a huge explosion. When the fire's smoke cleared, Monster X limped out towards him. Zonefire just stood there staring at its smoke. Monster X was sexually confused. Why wasn't he fighting back? He limped even closer, charging up his energy, his eyes glowing yellow but quickly faded black to red. His vision began to blur. Monster X wasn't shocked as everything grew more and more dark. He wanted to get away now. He limped past the blue giant, and after what felt like forever, he toppled onto his side. His glowing red eyes went dim, then dark. He let one last breath of steam escape his mouth before bloody foam spilled out. Then he exploded with the floor device shaking the city. Monster X
Is he
was
forming
gone.
into Godzilla?
Monster X was gone. Zone Fighter had won. Suddenly, twin red jagged ass. He turned around to see Adora, the shit monster, staring back at him. Zone Fighter knew there was no way he could defeat this creature. It was more than a monster. It was a super monster. Even Godzilla could not kill this thing on his own. He knew he would die, but he refused to leave. Godzilla, Gamera, Biollante, and their monster brothers were too busy fighting other evil menaces in other parts of the world. No, only like 4 others were doing something. None of the others were mentioned.
Only Rodan and Gamera were doing something. The other 3 are back home or in space doing their own thing.
Yeah, they could easily do something.
I just thought of something. Maybe they're just sitting around eating popcorn watching all this happen.
Yes.
Biollante probably invited Mothra into the sky and Godzilla tagged along.
Mm-hmm.
And Ingers is too busy being part of Gyro's meth creation.
Yeah.
Ultraman was nearly halfway around the world trying to slow down King Ghidorah, and man-made anti-kaiju weapons like Mechagodzilla were already dealing with other insane beasts that would bring the world to ruin if not dealt with. Zonefire was the only one capable of defending Russia in its time of need. He just hoped Japan was still safe from any attacks and that one of the others got to it before someone file like his former chaos, emphasis on gay, or Legion did. Suddenly, a series of tanks, helicopters, jets, and maser tanks came out and joined him in this fight. He had helped save Mother Russia when no one else could. He answered a cry of help that others could. They would do everything in their power to help this hero. Sunfire had thought about retreating, but decided not to. When Bacon attacked, he was unable to join the fight. He had been in a car crash in his human form, which left him in a hospital bed and cast for weeks. He'd only sit and watch as the war with Bacon, Grandma or Queen Ghidorah, and all other evil kaiju were broadcasted on every TV all over the world. He felt so useless. He practically is. He never wanted to feel like that again.
Wait, how did they get over the TV?
Good
Which
question.
kaiju was recording it?
He would stay and fight with these brave men who were in this suicide mission. His only regret was that he would never have that rematch with Ultraman. His belt buckle turned from yellow to a flashing red. He only had 110 seconds left, but he would make sure to give Ghidorah hell for every second. Fired his arrow beams before charging headfirst into the battle, as the Russian army unleashed a payload of rockets, missiles, and lasers on the giant monster collision. Zonefighter was going to fight until he died, and they would join him to the bitter end. Winner, Zonefighter.
Well, actually, the winner said Dora because Zone Fighter died.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
Unless someone makes a sequel and basically retcons everything.
Of course, absolutely. In the same way that match 56, match 25, and match 49 are now all interconnected thanks to this one match.
And none of the
Yeah.
kaiju died in the Baggin trilogy, since Angus and
Apparently.
Rodan are mentioned.
Yeah, apparently. So loose continuity going on here. But otherwise, yeah, this match was actually really. I like this match. I actually do. I like the fact that
It is enjoyable.
Oh, right. Like, I
a good
enjoy the Zone Fighter Godzilla sparring match. Sure, it's a little bit more on the brutal side for just being a sparring match, but it's also Godzilla, so, kind of to be expected. like that. Yeah, the first part of the fight where Zone Fighter fights Godzilla was fun. It was cool to see that it was like, oh, it's just them having a sparring match. And it was cool to see that Godzilla lost, but it wasn't like, oh, I died with honor or whatever. But it's like, no, they were just having a sparring match and Godzilla lost, fair and square.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
And likewise, the other half, the Monster X fight, was also a lot of fun. I like the fact that it's set in Russia, Moscow. Don't get that setting too often.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
So does that
Really
mean Zone
good.
Fighter's a communist?
Yeah, it was. The fight between Zone Fighter and Monster X was really good, very brutal. Holy moly! And the banner, amazing, fantastic banner. I love Zone Fighter in the middle being split between daytime Monster Island Godzilla and nighttime Moscow
You said
Monster X.
split between.
Yeah, split between.
Hmm.
So
He's
yeah.
trying to decide who he wants to fight first.
Yeah, no, it's deciding who he wants to be, a good guy or a bad guy. That's the philosophy of this match, obviously.
Yeah.
But this is a really
It's
good
Or
not.
maybe he's just changing stages.
match.
Not picking up on it.
I mean,
He's
it
split
still
between-
has. I mean,
Wait,
it
wait,
still
wait.
has better. It still has better philosophy than Alien Covenant.
Well, when you look at the banner, Zonefire's trying to fast travel, but he can't because enemies are nearby.
But yeah, Joe, did you have anything to add on? Anything to say?
Uh, I firstly, I really like that Zone Fighter. I think the Zone Fighter fighting Godzilla portion was a training. I think it was just them training, which you don't really get a lot in KWCs. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the only one, unless you count Godzilla Jr. versus Daigoro.
Right.
I mean, they were playing. They weren't training.
Yeah, they were playing in Godzilla Jr. versus Daigoro. Here it was training, so it's a little different, but the idea that it's supposed to be a non-lethal match is this is probably another one where there's like, oh, two guys are fighting, it's a non-lethal match.
Mm-hmm.
So at least the Zone Fighter versus Godzilla portion of the match. So,
Yeah. The Monster X fight was also really enjoyable. Other than that, good banner, and not really much else to say that Kaiju X hasn't said. It's a good match.
Nagoda, anything?
That was my turn.
Yeah.
The banner is pretty good. During the sparring match with Godzilla, he actually got burned, and then he had to basically slam Godzilla into the ground multiple times to win. And the Monster X fight, he basically torn limb from limb. He just got his spine broken.
Right. You guys, I can't hear you guys. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, the banner's pretty solid. Yeah, it holds up pretty well. It really does feel like an episode of Zone Fighter. Yeah, like I said, nothing really to criticize, because aside from some typos, but other than that, it's pretty damn good. I have one problem with it. It shouldn't be called Zone Fighter versus Godzilla and Monster X. It should have just been Zone Fighter versus Godzilla versus Monster X. I mean, Godzilla and X aren't on a team, after all.
Right. Yeah, I probably get the idea. It's like, oh, it's and Monster X just because it's like, he fights them both, but he doesn't fight them both simultaneously, though. So in that sense, it would make sense. I was like, oh, it should be just Zone Fighter versus Godzilla versus Monster X. Like, Yeah, I could see that. I could kind of see that. Though in a certain weird way, having it called Godzilla and Monster X kind of gives the match a little bit of an identity, but I do understand, like, oh, it should technically be Zone Fighter versus Godzilla versus Monster X. I could see that.
Yep.
Yeah.
It should also be called Zone Fighter versus Godzilla versus Monster X versus a surprise win cameo by Hedorah.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
I mean, if Baragon can lose by a cameo in match 56, can't Hedorah win by a cameo in this?
Yeah.
Yes.
But seriously, we need to
Okay.
remove that loss for Baragon on 56
Mm-hmm.
because that's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
Also, Zone
Also,
Fighter
hey-
has some really torturous training methods. Like, don't let Baragon dig anywhere for a while,
yeah.
and shoot Rodan in the face. And
Projectiles.
shoot Rodan in the face with missiles. And what was another one he had?
Going melee with Godzilla.
Yeah,
Mhm.
punching Godzilla in the face repeatedly.
Yeah.
I want to know what he did with Dong.
What did he do with Dong? Who knows? But yeah, with all that said, that was match 89, and we will see you guys next time for match 90. Till then, folks.
And faster. And faster.
And
faster.
Joe!
And faster.
Joe!
And faster.
And faster.
Joe!
And faster.
Joe!
And
And
faster.
faster.
Joe!
And faster.
Joe!